Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Rundown, where we talk about 2A news and conservative views. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras. But as we all know, I do not do this program by myself.
Woo, that's right. My name is Mike Piwowarski, coming to you live from the East Coast. That's the coast with the most, the co-host with the most here on the Rundown. 2A views, conservative news. And Craig, I see you're not in your office today. You're in your closet.
Yes, I am.
Your
I am in my
closet.
closet today. I am actually off site doing the program today. Just kind of hanging out. So, needless to say, atmosphere is a little different.
I am I'm all sweaty. I just came in from doing some yard work, so I had an
Doing
hour's
yard
worth of
work
spare
in Florida
time.
will definitely make you sweaty, I bet.
Woo, yeah, like an hour, and you lose like 2 pant sizes. You work
Wow.
outside for
See,
an hour. So
I'll tell you, I feel pretty blessed because I've gotten my yard work down to where it takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to do the entire yard, front and back, mowing, trimming, everything.
yeah, this time of year we kind of give up on trimming, and we just try to keep the mowing because it takes like to cut my grass probably takes 8 hours.
Wow. So do you like cut it all
Yeah.
at once, or do you do it like in sections, or like this week I'll do this section, next week I'll do another section?
Oh no, if you wait a week, you'll never catch up. This time of year, you get maybe 3 days in between if you're staging it. You've got to cut every five to 6 days if you want to not have to call a professional with a yard mower. With a
Oh wow.
what do they call it? Because it'll just grow. Listen, in the 2 hour 3 hours that I'll cut my grass, when I come back around to where I started, it's grown half an inch. It's just it grows
Okay,
that fast here.
that's a little scary.
Yeah.
That is definitely
Yeah.
that is definitely a little
Yeah.
scary.
Yep.
In any
So,
case, how are you doing today, my friend?
other than that, all good. Got some work done today, and trying to get that weekend started early.
Excellent, excellent. So I take it then your hump day started off well if you've gotten your weekend started.
So far, so good. So
So
far, so
far,
good.
so
Working
good.
out well. Working
Well,
out well.
speaking of getting things started, let's go ahead and get the show started. Let's start with a quick shout out to our sponsors.
Yeah, let's say hi to our good friends at Hitman Industries. That's hitmanindustries.net. Hitmanindustries.net. You got yourself an AR in the past 5 years. You probably got one of their barrels and don't even know it. Well, now you can buy from them factory direct for your next AR build or rebarrel your current AR platform. That's hitmanindustries.net. First responder, give them a call. Veteran, give them a call. You get a little discount. Uh, California Republican Assembly fighting a good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Make sure you check out California's 6th congressional race while you're there. The best in tactical concealed holsters on the market. That's Hog Holsters, HAWG, hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all one word, all caps, no spaces. Get a nice little discount there from him as well. And where else we go? Oh, if you're going outdoors, you get a little tactical. Hunting, fishing, camping, whatever it happens to be, you can get everything but the gun at uscombatgear.com.
That's right, folks. These are our sponsors. They bring us to you so that we can bring you to them. Do us a favor. Do them a favor. Do yourself a favor. Visit their websites. All you got to do is follow the links in the description to this program. Check them out. Spend some money with them. Make sure you tell them the guys over the Rundown sent you. All right, getting into today's news. I got to tell you, on a Throat Punch Thursday, I cannot think of a better story to lead into this particular day than the story of Biden's border wall. That's right. You might recall back in the day when Mr. Biden basically said, there is absolutely no way that I am going to support the building or the expansion of a border wall. In fact,
It was yesterday.
let's listen to what the Democrats had to say about the border wall.
The Biden administration is now going to waive 26 federal laws to restart border wall construction. it had previously stopped. Now, that was back in January of 2021. The Biden administration at the time called a massive border wall, quote, not a serious policy solution.
There will not be another foot of wall constructed on my administration.
The president also said today that former presidents have said to him that they wish that they had built a wall. Do you recall President Obama ever saying that?
I can't think of a single one who said that. We need border security, but that's not the border security we need.
And folks, on the subject of transnational gangs, let's be perfectly clear. The president's medieval vanity project is not going to stop them. This administration has decided to vilify them and to trade on them for the sake of this president's medieval vanity project called a wall. Let me be very clear. I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances, and I do support border security. And if we want to talk about that, let's do that.
Is there anything that's off the table that you won't do to secure the border?
Well, the president, as I think you know very well, has said we are not going to construct more wall that costs billions and billions of dollars, that is immovable. The policy of this administration, we do not agree with the building of the wall.
I stand by the decision of this administration to cease construction of the wall.
He's holding the nation hostage for his bigoted, racist border wall, which we know is a failed policy. And this is why Democrats can't give in.
And instead of providing the needed resources for more border security technology and asylum officers and judges, it would waste taxpayer dollars on an ineffective wall. Again, an ineffective wall that can't even withstand heavy winds, let alone sophisticated criminal smuggling networks.
We feel that it is a policy that doesn't work, and it's not just us. Experts have said that the border wall is not an effective policy.
We're not finishing the wall. We are cleaning up the mess the prior administration left behind in their failed attempt to build a wall. And I just want to be very, very clear here. On day one, we returned the money, the $8 billion the prior administration took from our military. We gave that back. A border wall is ineffective use of taxpayer dollars. So it's ineffective of taxpayer dollars that actually went to the military that the last administration, the prior president, took. It's ineffective. We are not finishing a wall. We are not finishing the wall.
We spent years investing in a faulty border wall that was never going to be an effective mechanism. The former president invested billions of dollars in a border wall that was never going to work or be effective.
So now the Biden administration has decided that not only are they going to start working on the wall, the bigoted border wall, the border wall that doesn't work, that experts have said absolutely positively doesn't work, the racist border wall. Not only are they building it, Mike, but they are suspending or ignoring or whatever you want to call it, 26 different federal laws in the state of Texas in order to build the bigoted border wall. Even Donald Trump had to say, I wonder when I'm going to get an apology.
Do you remember the movie My Cousin Vinny at the end when he's in the courtroom and he starts doing that little strut because he knows he's won? Yeah, Donald Trump's been doing that all day today. He's just been walking around like a little strut with that strut. Craig, I guarantee you by this time next year, where we're in the heat of the last throes of the campaign, both vying for president. President Joe Biden is going to say he had the courage to bring the border wall back to secure the border. I guarantee it. I guarantee you that's what they're going to say. They're going to try and turn this around and blame it on for Trump for not finishing it when he had the opportunity. And it took Biden to correct the Trump problem to secure the border. That's what they're going to go with this within the next year.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely. They're going to say, well, he never finished the wall. Well, first of all, let's be clear. He's only building about, I think it's like 26 miles compared to I believe it was 400 miles, but Trump says it's over 500 miles. He has a tendency to put dubs on it, so I don't know how accurate that number is. But let's put it this way. It's a lot more than 26 or 20 some odd miles of border wall that the Biden is talking about building right now. The thing is that, and Mike, let's be clear. This is just one of the Trump immigration policies or southern border policies that Biden has re-implemented in order to, and by the way, they're not calling it a wall, they're calling it barriers. Okay, so, it's not really a wall. It's just a, 30-foot barrier standing between the southern border, standing between Mexico and the United States of America. But it's just one of the policies, like the stay. How about this? How about the stay in Mexico policy, right? That was a Trump era policy. Which Title 42 or whatever it was? That was a Trump era policy. I mean, let's just be honest. Why can't you just admit that, you know what? Trump did some things right. And during his time, by the way, the most important thing that Trump did right when it came to immigration was tell people and make it clear to people, if you come in this country illegally, we will ship you back to where you came from. And guess what? That made it so that fewer people decided to even come.
That's right. That's right. If there's no penalty, why am I worried about breaking the law to get through? They're just going to let me in and give me checks and iPhones, right? You knew it was coming, right? You knew it had to happen. Because at this point you've got Democrats yelling at Democrats and blaming them for the problem, yelling at the president, and whether it's mayors, whether it's governors, it had to happen. They tried to sneak it through. Did you notice this? There was no press conference, no release. They just put it in the Federal Register.
Right. Yeah. So, by the way, folks, they didn't do a press conference. He's right. They didn't do a press conference. They didn't even send out a statement or a comment. Nothing in the press. It went into a registry, which they were required to put the information in.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just comical. Listen, I'm going to try and save the country a couple $1 billion, though, right now, Craig.
Okay.
Start sending shipping containers to the border. Stack them 3 high like Legos. It's what we did in the military overseas to secure our bases. Start sending them old shipping containers that are beyond refurb.
Well, you know what? They already got them there in Arizona, so they don't have to go too far.
That's it.
Let's see. The old governor, Governor Ducey there in Arizona, was already doing that, which then once again raises the question as to why not? Just sounds like a good idea to me. By the way, Patrick Collins, he suggested that you get some goats for your yard.
No, today's project was there's some low spots and we've had a lot of rain, so I'm filling with fill dirt and sod, trying to bring up certain areas of the yard right now. So that was the yard work today. But I do need goats. The problem is there's about 4 months out of the year I need to send them somewhere else because we don't need them then.
I will just tell you right now, if you know a good Indian family, if you don't mind buying goats every year, I'm pretty sure that they will. I'm pretty sure you can find some folks who are interested in making some goat curry. Just get them during the year, and then for the 4 months you don't need them, sell them for goat curry, get you some new goats.
Didn't you have a Mexican goat that scaled like a 12-foot fence and ran out of your yard? You guys went hungry?
I don't know if it was a Mexican. That was a crazy goat. That thing scaled like a 10-foot fence and ran away.
That's a border jumping goat right there.
That is a border jumping goat. I had forgotten about that till you brought it up. Yeah, that was one impressive goat.
Until it was dinner time. Wasn't impressive.
Until it was dinner time, he was a no-show.
Damn it.
All right, student loan repayment. Now, you know that as of Monday, people had to start repaying their student loans, the loans that they took out, the ones that they signed for and, supposedly used to get degrees and yada, yada, yada. Well, now all of a sudden you're starting to see reports of, let's use the Washington Free Beacon's headline, terrifying resumption of student loan repayments may force college grads to dip into fun budget, media warn. It says here, for the first time since President Joe Biden took office, student loan debtors will this month have to pay back some of the money they borrowed from the federal government. Biden has tried to soften the blow since the Supreme Court in June shot down the president's sweeping plan to write off student loan debt. He has nonetheless managed to forgive $127 billion of taxpayer-funded money for a few million former college students, including $9 billion on Wednesday, per the White House. Still, the mainstream media have been filled with alarm about hardships and injustices that could result from the resumption of the student loan debt collection. Lawyers, former philosophy professors, aerospace defense workers, and university administrators could be among those hardest hit, according to reports. Cutbacks could be required to vacations, restaurant dining, spa days, and other fun budget items. Now, Mike, I got to tell you, once again, if you took out a student loan, first of all, you should pay it back. Number two, even if it was forgiven, why didn't you just take the time? I wouldn't have still been paying, only because you didn't know what was going to happen, right? But I would have taken that money, not put it into my budget, and set it aside. Just set it aside so that when payments did resume, or if they did resume, well, guess what? You'd have a chunk of money that you've saved up over multiple years to just, boom, take a big, huge chunk out of that. I just, for the life of me, I'm like, what are these people thinking?
Yeah, listen, and I agree with you. If you tell me, first of all, that, hey, listen, you don't have to pay it back right now until we figure this out, I'm not sending you a check anymore. I'm going to take advantage of, just the same way President Trump takes advantage of tax breaks, I'm going to take advantage of loan repayment breaks. Now, once it's supposed to start back up again, Craig, this is how I know you and I will have jobs until the day we die, because they have to explain to this generation that you might have to eat out less in order to pay off your debts. You might not be able to go on that vacation because you might have to pay off your debts. You have to explain that to this generation like they're in in 8th grade. They've never heard that concept before. It's absolutely unbelievable to think, that, what do you mean I'm not going to be able to buy that new car now? It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, no, it is definitely unbelievable. Going back to our last item, we have Doug Petros over at Opsland says, I thought your administration tore down some of the wall also. Guess that was a lie. Well, they didn't actually tear down the wall. What they did was parts where it wasn't finished, they just didn't finish it. A lot of the content is still sitting there. A lot of the material is still sitting there, basically rotting away.
Right. And we were paying security people to guard the materials as opposed to construction to people to put it up.
Exactly.
Story, bring it back. And I want to talk to you about the author here for a moment. I don't know if you've ever met him before.
Let me see. Okay, this guy right here, the second story, this one?
Yeah, by Drew Holden. Good. Just scroll down a little. It says by Drew Holden. There you go. Good author. I've met him a couple of times. I'm going to tell you a little secret about him. Holden's his middle name. His last name, McGroin.
His last name is McGroin.
Yeah.
Holden McGroin.
Drew Holden McGroin.
Okay. I saw what you did there. Oh, Mikey got jokes. Holding
Sometimes
my beer.
they're too easy. You got to swing at them.
His name is Holding my beer.
You got to swing at them sometimes, yeah. Holding my beer. Holding my groin.
Though, Mike, and it's funny. It's funny when you talk about the fact that we have to tell this generation, or tell people that, yeah, when you borrow money, you pay it back. That's kind of the obligation that you sign up for. And if you don't pay it back, keep in mind that means that someone else is paying for your education. In this case,
they just write it off. They just write it off, Craig. Just write it off.
No, it's us. It's me. It's you.
Write it off. They write it off.
And
You ever heard that
you.
before? Yeah. The next time somebody says they write it off, ask them what they mean by they'll write it off. I'm going to tell you, here's the easy way what it means by they write it off. Craig, you got pretty good credit, right?
Yeah.
What's the interest rate on your credit card?
Depends on the one I'm using. I've got one that's as low as like 7-8%.
For somebody with good credit, 7 to 12% is a good interest rate. Why does somebody with good credit have to pay 7 to 12%? It's a lot less than that to actually to manage those funds. The reason you're paying 7 to 12% is for these other out there that don't pay their debts, and you're paying it back for them.
Exactly. They have to factor in just like grocery stores factor into a certain degree in their profit margin. They figure in shrinkage or people stealing from them.
Yep.
And so they factor that into the price that they charge, because then everybody else has to pay for those who steal. For those of you who take out student loans and do not pay it back, you are stealing from the rest of us, especially since now federal loans or student loans are guaranteed by the federal government, which means the taxpayers, which means me, which means him, which means you. Don't punch.
There you go.
I shouldn't have to explain this stuff. We should not have to explain this stuff, folks. I'm sorry. And I realize I probably really don't have to explain it to our audience, but I do.
Well, that's why you and Patrick and the other who made the comment, we will have jobs forever. Jobs forever.
Jobs forever. Okay. Moving right along. Protect Liberty PAC. Now, this was an interesting one, only in that, this was actually from an article over at Bearing Arms. It says, firearm industry aims to protect liberty in 2024 election cycle. It says, when we last spoke to the National Shooting Sports Foundation Senior Vice President and General Counsel Larry Keane on Bearing Arms Cam and Company, he teased an upcoming announcement about an effort to help gun owners support the firearms industry and protect their individual right to keep and bear arms. The secret is now out, and Keane is back on the show today, not as a spokesman for NSSF, but in his role as treasurer for a new super PAC that aims to play a major role in defending the freedoms in the 2024 election cycle. The Protect Liberty PAC is needed, says Keane, because we are in some challenging times. Growing popularity of socialism, the rise of woke culture, and the incessant attacks on our individual freedoms that are ramping up across the country are all evidence of that. And Keane says it's absolutely critical to identify and support those candidates for federal office who will curb these abusive authoritarian affronts on our liberty. Now, Mike, the interesting thing about this whole thing is, and I always tell people this: look, people get mad about like the big money donors. They get mad about corporations and their role that they play in big business in politics. And I always tell people, if you are not helping a candidate who you believe in when they're running for office, then they've got to get the resources to run for office from somewhere else. So why not support efforts like this that are actually going to support those candidates that are going to support your rights?
Yeah, I've got some different views on campaign finance, and I think that this is without even getting into PACs, right? Because PACs don't give money to candidates; they give money to causes, and it just happens to be the same cause the candidate wants. So they're by proxy promoting the candidate. I've always believed that there should be a set dollar amount for Social Security number to give to candidates. Now, if you want to give, let's say it's $1,000, and you want to give $1,000 each election cycle to every candidate, go right ahead. It's your money. But I think EIN should do it as well. Employee identification numbers, basically your business's Social Security number. They should have a set dollar amount also, because, it really means, Craig, that he who has the most money is going to win, when it comes down to it. And I think it should be more about issues than money.
Well, so the only problem with that is that, for example, like with labor unions, unless you're going to make it so that labor unions cannot collect money, political money at all, because what they do is they collect money and they give it to candidates that you may or may not support as a member of that union.
Well,
it also means that those who personally, unless you're going to make it so that candidates are not allowed to put their own money in either, because what it means is that for example, if I'm independently wealthy, I can fund my own campaign as opposed to someone else who may not be independently wealthy.
Before we go forward with the labor union part, the labor union is an EIN. It has an employee identification number. So no matter how many people donate to it, there's a cap of how much they could donate. It's
right.
The same as having a social, this much per social or this much per EIN. Now I think maybe would have just example out there, security an EIN 1,000, as opposed to the 500,000 now.
Well, I know that there are, for federal races, there are limits in terms of how much they can donate to a candidate. But what they wind up doing and what has been deemed, according to, I forget what the lawsuit is, a individual or an organization can spend as much money as they want. So what they're doing now is, rather than giving a lot of money directly to the candidate, they're spending money promoting the candidate, if that makes sense.
Well, you can't promote the candidate by name. So what they do is they go out there and they have a campaign promoting border walls.
Well, no, actually, they are supporting the candidate by name. They'll be, campaign yada yada yada, and they'll be talking about why you need to support Craig DeLuz. And now, as an independent expenditure committee, I can't have anything to do with that. With any, I can't coordinate with them, but they can promote my campaign or promote a candidate's campaign.
Exactly what I'm saying. So they can't give the money to President Trump or for former President Trump, but they can have a campaign that says, we promote border walls. Donald Trump promotes border walls. Vote Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I will always say this, and I'll continue to say this. If you want to get big money out of politics, educate yourself and inform yourself. Because right now the challenge is that most people who vote are low information voters, and they have to be spoon-fed information. And if the candidates, either the candidates or the people who are running against the candidates, are the ones who are spoon-feeding that information. In this particular case, all I'll say is this. I don't care if you give money directly to the candidate. I don't care if you give to an organization that gives money to candidates. Ultimately, who you elect matters, right? It really does. I know a lot of people want to say, well, no, it doesn't matter. Yes, in fact, it does. It very much matters. So spend a little time. Know who you're supporting. Know who you're voting for. And if you really believe in what they're about, help support them, even with just a little bit. A little bit goes a long way.
There you go.
All right, and then finally, microaggressions. So this is a great one. So this is an article in the USA Today that I came across, and this is probably about as Karen an article as you can get. It says here, we need to talk about the macro effect of microaggressions on women at work. It says Sherry Sandberg had barely gotten started in her career when she noticed how often she was interrupted mid-sentence. Even to this day, when I am in meetings where I am the same seniority as other people, I still get interrupted more than men, she said. If Sandberg, one of the world's most recognized business executives, is still being spoken over in meetings, what about women overall in the workplace? According to LeanIn.org's latest Women in Workplace report and McKinsey and Company, women are more than twice as likely as men to be interrupted. They are twice as likely to get comments on their emotional state and 1.5 times more likely to have colleagues take credit for their work, the new study found. The findings reinforce years of research that women face these sorts of microaggressions at significantly higher rate than men. Most women, 78%, say they experience microaggressions at work. Now, Mike, I'm just going to ask you this. You've had people talk over you before or interrupt you before, haven't you?
Yeah, you.
And before you answer, let me. Do you know what I think the difference here? It's not that it happens less to women or more to women. It's that men complain about it less.
Listen, her logic there in the first paragraph or two reminds me of the old the deduction of all dogs are mammals, humans are mammals, therefore all humans are dogs. Okay, she's drawing the wrong conclusions, turning the backwards. All right, she's a woman and she gets interrupted as an executive. Therefore, non-executives must get interrupted more. No, that's not how logic it works. You do not put it together like that. If you're having microaggressions at work and you're the executive, fire some people. Okay, that's how you stop getting interrupted. You set the rule of not to be interrupted when I'm speaking. If you do, you no longer work here. End of problem. Move on to the next topic.
You know, it's funny. So here you have, it says, for Sandberg, these are not just small indignities. Everyday sexism stalls women's advancement in the workplace, especially at the top, shortchanging women and employers alike. Now, Mike, once again, I'm just going to say this. It's not that it happens that is shortchanging you. You know what it is? It's that you are getting butthurt and doing nothing about it except complaining.
Yeah. Why don't you go home and pay your student loans? You're just killing this generation.
Dude, let me tell you something, and I will just say this. There is not a married man that I know that has not gotten used to being interrupted.
Yeah, absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah.
And even worse, interrupted with something that has nothing to do with what you were in the middle of talking about.
Yeah.
Have you ever?
She's upset because she's got a boardroom full of people that are confident and want their opinions heard.
Yes.
I don't know. Those are some of the traits that got them to be successful board members and business people. You know, and if you don't want people talking over you, set the rule. And if they don't abide by it, send them home. It's not difficult.
Mike, you are 100% correct. The idea is that what you are willing to tolerate, you will never change. If that's not what you want and you're in a board meeting or you're in a meeting, you say, no, wait. I'm sorry. Stop. I was talking. Let me finish my thought.
Craig, it reminds me of the story of the old dog sitting on a wooden porch. And every once in a while, the dog just goes, and the two guys are sitting there and he says, "What's wrong with your dog?" He goes, "Well, he's sitting on a rusty nail." He goes, "Well, why doesn't he get up?" He goes, "Well, it doesn't bother him enough to do anything about it. It just bothers him enough to bitch about it."
There you go. That's pretty much that's pretty much right there what we're dealing with. That's pretty much right there. That pretty much sums it all up. Okay, well, on that note, we're going to go ahead and move along to our parting shots, brought to you by Hog Holsters. Visit them at hogholsters.com. Make sure you use discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces. Get your Hog Holster today. Okay, this one you're going to enjoy, Michael. We know that there are some people who are somewhat frustrated with Matt Gaetz, right? But this particular he's a senator. I guess he was at one time a member of the House of Representatives. He decided to drop a bombshell about Mr. Gaetz, and I thought it would just be fun to play and talk about. Now, mind you, the stuff that he's talking about here, let us be clear, occurred when Matt Gaetz was single. This was before he was married.
Beast mode.
3, 2, 1. You got to think about this guy. This is a guy that the media didn't give a time of day to after he was accused of sleeping with an underage girl. And there's a reason why no one in the conference came and defended him, because we had all seen the videos he was showing on the House floor that all of us had walked away of the girls that he had slept with. He'd brag about how he would crush ED medicine and chase it with an energy drink so he could go all night.
All right, so if you didn't think this was going to turn into a 3-ring circus, there you go.
Remember John Lovitz used to lean in and go, jealous?
Anyway, I just thought that you would find that hilarious. I also got a meme here, or actually, this is from our folks over at the Babylon Bee, honoring the fact that, congratulating the fact that Maryland just got its third senator, the only state in the nation with 3 senators. But this is from the Babylon Bee. It says, California senator grateful for new job with short commute from home in Maryland.
Yeah, I don't know how this is not, being petitioned on the Senate floor that she's not a resident of California. I don't get that.
She doesn't even meet the residency requirement if she were to run for Senate in fact, I don't even know if she's been in the. I have to check and see if she's lived in the state or been a resident of the state, a registered voter, long enough to actually run for the seat.
Yeah.
Which once again raises the question: why is she our senator? In any case. By the way, just wanted to. There's another thing that we want to know. Now we know that January 6th was a thing. We know that September 11th was a thing. Well, guess what? Now September 30th is a thing. September 30th. Never forget. That's Representative Jamal Bowman wearing his little QAnon shaman hat with a fire alarm.
Yep. He's a keeper.
Now, he was questioned, by the way, during the investigation to determine exactly what happened and how the fire alarm may have been pulled. And during the questioning, they gave him, you see here a picture of a fire alarm and a picture of a doorknob. It says corporate needs you to find the difference between this picture and this picture. And Mr. Bowman's response is, they're the same picture.
And listen, the investigation is serious. It's a crime to pull a fire alarm if there's no fire. I mean, you're talking about putting innocent individuals at risk, first responders at risk. It's a crime to do such, and he don't care.
Well, no, now, Mike, let's take the man at his word. He clearly could not recognize the difference between a doorknob and a sign that says and a fire alarm that says fire alarm.
I know what it was. He thought by pulling the fire alarm, he was paying off his student debt. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's the ticket.
Jealous?
All right, folks. Well, hey, it's about time to wrap up the program. But before we do, another shout out to our sponsors.
Hitman Industries, hitmanindustries.net. Now you get rifle and pistol caliber barrels at any length you need for your next AR rifle or pistol builds. Also available Glock barrels. Check them out. California Republican Assembly, fighting the good fight behind enemy lines. Now you can take part in California's future today. Check out that California 6th congressional race. And of course, if you're going outdoors, heading to the field, whatever you might be doing, you need that tactical gear. You can get everything but the gun from uscombatgear.com.
All right, folks, please take a moment, visit our sponsors, let them know that the guys over at the Rundown sent you. And with that, we're going to go ahead and call it a day. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program, and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow for Freaky Friday, Feedback Friday, or just, fun, funky Friday. We'll see you then.